Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys, brand new podcast.
Hey, wait a minute. It's my podcast.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Enjoy. This is fancier. This is all like, this is Bert casted.
Yes.
I'm just riding on the coattails.
There you go.
Lucky me. I know forever he was like, you should start your own podcast. And I'm like, I don't even know how to push the button on the thing. Like until Halston showed up, I was like, I may as well be operating a rocket. I have no idea how to do any of this.
Girl, make it go. Make it go up.
Stuff. Exactly. It's crazy. So EmmaLeigh and Joy have a podcast called
Happy Endings with Joy Eileen.
Nice. Happy Endings with Joy Eileen. And what do you do on that podcast?
Well, that is where I massage comedians or entertainers or really anyone interesting. And while I'm massaging them, I interview them.
Right.
And then I was doing it for a while, and then I met EmmaLeigh, and then she kind of just started asking people, like, do you want to be on this podcast with my friend? And then finally I'm like, okay, you're the producer now.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
stuck her in it.
It's good. You get people all loose and relaxed, and then does stuff kind of spill out, or do people shut up?
No, we've had some moments where things are coming out and I'm all, oh, okay. Happy.
Yeah. We're about the happy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I try. I'm like, it's a happy ending, like happy. And then some people will start talking about things and I'm like, oh, this is a dark ending. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll have you on again.
And so you're happy now? Or we were happy in the beginning? That was
How
happy
you
some
feeling?
point? Really?
Yeah.
So it goes really dark?
Sometimes.
Why do you think that is?
A lot. Okay, this is my explanation. I've been doing massage for 11 years at a chiropractor's office, and I feel a lot of it is people are looking down. So they're not making eye contact.
Oh.
So I almost feel like it's a sounding board where they just want to speak. They can't see my facial expressions because there are a lot of them.
I'm sure.
Sometimes they say stuff and my face will be like very screwy, like, okay, that just happened.
Right.
But they have no idea. There's no judgment because they're looking at the floor.
Right.
And I almost feel like they're just wanting to say it out loud. Mm-hmm. Or they just feel like it's a safe spot. Hopefully, people do say that they feel calm around me. I don't know. I'm a very anxious person. But yeah, so we get, I don't know. I think they just, a lot of it, I really don't think they're talking to me. I think they're just talking to talk.
Interesting. You think it's like, remember the picture of the therapist where the patient's laying on the couch and can't see the therapist? Mm-hmm. I guess there is some kind of theory that not being able to see the therapist, you just start kind of talking and yammering and stuff comes out unexpectedly. I wonder if it's the same theory.
I kind of see that because, like I said, you take off of people's social cues, like
Totally.
their facial expressions. And, if people are looking a little off, like distant or something, you kind of change your tone or maybe you change the subject. But by not seeing them, you have no idea what they're thinking, what they're judging you, if they're judging you. So you just pour it all out.
So I wonder if any of it also has to do with the physical release, right? Because you're physically releasing their muscles.
Right.
Not that kind of happy ending, people.
No.
Just muscular.
Just muscular.
But stuff's got to come up. Like I believe you store emotions in your muscles.
I completely agree.
Right?
Yes. Muscles have memory.
They totally have memory.
Yes.
So if you're mucking around in a part where you've stuck something, I wonder if it just knocks it loose. And coupled with the fact that they can't, like you say, see the social cues, whatever's happening on your face, they just vomit stuff out. How fascinating.
It's pretty cool. It's fun.
That's really awesome. How'd you come up with that idea?
I guess I'm not the most professional massage therapist. So for 11 years, I mean, most of the people that I do, they're family. Like I go out to dinner with them. We've just done things together because I've known them for so long that we just talk and we're laughing and we're having so much fun in the chiropractor's office. And I was trying to find a way into comedy.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I was just mucking around with open mics and all of that, which I'm still doing. But this was my way of talking to bigger people and hopefully seeing like how quick I can come with witty responses and hopefully like headline for somebody or feature for someone. So it was just my way, but it was frustrating because I was even telling EmmaLeigh, well, why didn't I think of this sooner?
Right.
Like, why didn't it come about sooner.
Things happen when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
I think they do. But so what we haven't talked about is the fact that you're both stand-ups.
Yes.
You both are comics. So you have this podcast and you are a massage therapist, but you're both comics.
Yes.
And you both do open mics? I'm not, listen,
Yeah.
Bert is the comic. I don't know completely how the ranking system or pecking order works, so I don't mean to say anything incorrectly. So please don't be offended if I say the wrong term, because I just follow Bert's career. I don't follow anybody else's.
I'd like to follow Bert's career. No.
All right.
I'd take off my shirt on stage.
Yeah, totally.
I think I would not, but I mean, maybe a tank top. I don't know.
Think about it. You don't have to decide now.
No, yeah.
So
it's a possibility.
Talk to me about your stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, we do open mics. EmmaLeigh got me working at the Comedy Store, so we're hoping to get in more that way as well. So it's just grinding. Anytime they give us the magic talking stick, we're like, oh, we'll go on stage.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, right? Mm-hmm. You just have to get up there.
I hope so. I hope that's how you do
I think
it.
it is. It's trial and error. And I know from observing Bert, like I said, the only person I really have any intimate knowledge of as a stand-up is Bert. But watching his, progression, because we've been together 17 years.
Okay.
I think he's been doing comedy for 20. So I've been there for most of it. Mm-hmm. And just to watch him learn has been really fascinating, because I didn't know him when he was doing open mics.
Right.
I knew him when he was opening for people. Okay. So he had stepped up to opening and have a few regular gigs or regular comics that would bring him on to open. And to just watch how he learned, like, to craft, not just a joke, but like a 20-minute set. Like the whole how to craft that was just fascinating. And there's no manual, right? No. Is there a book? This is how you write a set for stand-up?
There probably is, because everybody's going to want to grab onto something like that. But I don't, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed I've been going towards the darker comedy, and EmmaLeigh has been starting to go towards like the storytelling. So it's all kind of your personality will come out on stage.
Right. And you just go with that.
Yes.
And kind of strengthen that.
Yeah, I think it kind of, like for me, a lot of it is I'll be telling stories to another comedian. We're just talking, and they'll go, "Do you say that on stage?" And I'm like, "No." And Jesus Trejo has been really, really wonderful.
He's awesome.
If you don't say that on stage, I'll be mad at you.
Oh, he's so sweet.
so
He's such a great guy. That's really cool, because I think that is the way it works, right? You hang out with people who help you figure out. Because I know that's what Bert did too. He would hang out with, Tom Segura, and he started at about the same. Yeah. They were at about the same place at the same time in the beginning, and they would help each other. You should add this to that joke. Oh yeah. And there was no kind of rivalry or no, I can't help you because you'll get ahead of me. There was none of that. It's such an interesting group. And then I think when you get a little bigger, it changes a bit. Yeah. Where it's less camaraderie.
I think so, because they have so much more to deal with than we do when we're just trying to figure out, like, I think there's something in this bit, how do I make it funny? And then friends just tagging each other's jokes and riffing. Right. It's so much fun, and it's great to watch, and I love being at the Comedy Store and watching bigger comedians run over to another one and go, "Hey, that joke, I think you should say this," and then just do what we do, right? And joke and laugh about this one thing, and just run and say things that you'd never say on stage, but you joke about it to find the pieces that you would say on stage, to refine, right? Fine tune and refine. The store, it's so funny. I have not been to the store since our probably 10 years ago, when it was really not doing super well and really run down before this new manager kind of came in and took over. I can never remember his name. Adam, yes. Yeah. But it's really become like a mecca for all levels of comics right now. Yeah. Am I right?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. How does that feel to be in that? What does that feel like?
It feels like home.
Yeah?
Yeah, like when we first went there, it was before I even decided I wanted to do comedy. I was that girl that anytime there was a microphone, I would get on it. I was the weirdo who would talk at funerals.
Oh.
I did the high school graduation speech for no apparent reason. Just, I was like, oh, there's a microphone? Okay. And I was watching the comics and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that. But when you walk in, like EmmaLeigh was saying, everybody is so nice that I'm so awkward and anxious that when I walked in, people recognized that and they were like, oh, she just belongs.
Right.
And they accepted my awkwardness. And yeah, when you walk in, to me at least, that, and I know EmmaLeigh feels the same way.
Yeah.
You feel accepted there. You feel at home.
That's so cool.
It's just like an island of broken toys.
Misfit toys.
The misfit
The island of
We
misfit
just
toys.
we just kind of have all of our broken pieces that sort of fit together
Right.
there, and like different damage, but everybody gets it.
Right.
And then there's every once in a while somebody's like, I come from a really good family. I don't know why I'm here, but I fit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah. It's
Bert's kind of from a really good family. But I have to say, I think some comics are broken, but I don't think most of them are. I think most of them are gifted to filter the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And then regurgitate that so that we can filter our world in a different way. I think comics have one of the most important jobs on the planet, and that is to not let us stay in our own lane all the time.
Right.
And in the culture we're in now, if people would relax a little and laugh at themselves and the other person and allow themselves to be laughed at, I think we would make a lot of progress.
No, I agree.
So comics are just, they've always been, I think, a really important part of society. And I don't know how you do it. I'm funny, but I don't write jokes like that. Like, I know I'm like witty, funny, whatever, but I would never get on stage and tell jokes. I don't know how Bert crafts half the stuff he comes up with. I mean, like, the most mundane thing will happen in our house and he'll have the most amazing joke and I'll go, I didn't even pay attention to that moment. Like, I was in that moment and I was like, yeah, that's just a moment in time. And all of a sudden it's, on Netflix and you go, how did you do that? Why does your brain work like that?
Right.
I guess that is a funny thing for like being like in the life of a comedian, and you go like you have the experience of stories in your life being on Netflix now and going, oh, everybody knows that.
Yeah, right. It's true. It is odd. We're driving home last night and Bert likes to announce his success to our family, to the three of us, right? I am the reason that you go to private school. I am the reason that you went to Vietnam. I am the reason. And so last night I was like, you know what? Actually, we are the reason because we are in every single joke in that last special. So we are just as responsible as you are for your success. So can you just keep it like real? We're all equal. We all have a part to play. But in his brain, I think he really does think he's like superhero status.
Right. You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. What would you talk about?
Right.
If you wouldn't,
You talk about the lady at Starbucks. Like,
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah.
I was just at Starbucks and I was outside and there was nobody else on the patio and I was writing down jokes and this older lady sat next to me and turned music up on her phone. And I was listening to Christmas music. It was like perfect. And she turned on this like Zomba jazz medley.
Why?
And I'm looking at her and I'm going, is this really happening? And in my head, I'm like, how do I make this funny? And when EmmaLeigh came over and we were about to come over here, I walked by her and I go, I hope Santa Claus brings you headphones. And I just kept walking.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just the silliest things. You're like, okay, how can I fix this? How can I make this, because even other people were looking at her because other people started sitting down and they're all looking at her and she's just in her own little world.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. I actually thought Starbucks had turned on the music. I was like, they have a very bad sound system.
How
here.
funny. How rude.
Yeah.
People are so rude.
I don't understand that because I'm always conscious of like making other people comfortable.
Yeah.
And so when I see stuff like that, I'm like, where did you grow up? Like, what happened?
Who raised you? A pack of wolves, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Who's
Not
your
good.
mother? I'd like to have a discussion with her.
It happens a lot in this city, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you're from Canada, EmmaLeigh.
Yeah.
Where are you from? You're from here, Joy,
I'm from
right?
Fresno, Madera area.
Okay,
yeah.
so up. It's not the same as here, Fresno,
No,
Madera. No, it's
no.
different. Yeah, it's more. Is it more conservative?
It depends on where you are in Fresno,
Mm.
because it has Fresno State, which is the really big college. Well, big to us. And so you had the college kids and all the frat people there. So that wasn't conservative. But then you had the older part in Fresno, which was kind of the richier part. So it was very hodgepodge of
Oh,
where.
okay.
Yeah.
Little mix of this and that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Canada. Where in Canada?
Nova Scotia. It's on
Holy
the East Coast.
cold.
Yes.
It's really cold in Nova Scotia, isn't
Yeah.
it? Are you so happy to be down here?
I am. It's just really weird in my head still that she was like, I was listening to Christmas music, and unless I see decorations,
Right.
it's always June in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, right. Christmas is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is weird, isn't it? Because I'm not from Nova Scotia, but I'm from Georgia, and we definitely have seasons.
Yeah.
You know, it gets down to like 30, and sometimes it snows. Not a lot.
Yeah.
But at least there's no leaves on the trees. You know, such a green state. And then all of a sudden it's just barren because it's winter.
Yeah.
And we have spring and we have fall. And
I miss fall.
I miss fall a lot too. The seasons, I think, help you mark your life a bit.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you don't have any, you go, wait, it's been 4 years since I've done that. How'd that happen? Because
Right.
it's harder to mark your life somehow, even though we still have Christmas and we still have these kind of markers, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not the same as when you're
No.
walking around in a totally different season.
Yeah. It
know.
feels more like there's an event as opposed to this time of the year.
Right.
And so it's very difficult sometimes still for me. I've been here not quite a year yet, but
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that soon.
yeah,
So-
I'll be here a year in January.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So why'd you move?
I wanted to do comedy and try to write, and there's nothing to do in Nova Scotia. We have one comedy show. This hour has 22 minutes, and it's more like a political parody sort of show, and that's not really what I do. And if I was going to move, I was going to go to somewhere with better weather.
Right.
So
Don't complain.
yeah.
See?
I know, but I didn't understand how weird it would be.
Yeah.
But I came and visited here in November and moved in January.
It's pretty brave. Did you move by yourself?
At first, I
Yeah.
moved by myself, and now my daughter's here, and we're waiting for
You have
my
a daughter?
husband. I do.
How's your daughter?
She's 10.
Oh my God. Were you 4 when you had her? You look so young.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet. I was 18.
She is young.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were really young. That's
Yeah.
pretty young. She's 10.
Yeah. She's
That's so
great.
cool. Does she like it here?
She does.
She does.
She loves it here, and
You still have family in Nova Scotia?
I have a brother and a sister that still live there.
No parents?
My parents moved out here to help me with my
Oh, they
my
did.
daughter until my husband can move here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your husband is back in Nova Scotia? No.
He's from Mexico City,
Oh, okay.
and so when I moved here, he and my daughter Isabel, they moved there because it was cheaper and it was closer.
To Mexico City.
It's closer to California.
Yeah, than Nova Scotia, yeah.
And it was way cheaper because it's pesos. And so they were like, oh, we'll move here and we'll wait until we can get there.
Okay, so Isabel is in Mexico City?
She just moved here a few months ago.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah. So I have her
That's
again.
awesome.
I'm so happy.
But he's still in Mexico City.
He's still-
How's he doing?
You know, it's been a while. I've been here since January. It's almost a year. And
Yeah.
it's not a good time to try to get Mexicans across the border.
Right? I was thinking that. Yeah, and Mexico
Yeah.
City's had some stuff lately, haven't they?
They always do.
Yeah.
But it's just hard because we lived there and everything. I lived in Mexico City, but it's difficult when you really, really care about a person that's
Right.
there because you're
Right.
like, I know statistically there's crime everywhere, but you're in a place that everybody talks about how awful it is all the time. So
Yeah.
it's scary. And
Yeah.
yeah,
How long have you been together?
it's going to be 12 years. Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
How cool. I didn't expect any of that story. It's so funny. Not that I had any real preconceived notion, but, I guess you filter things through your own experience a little bit. I moved to New York not knowing anyone, wanting to be an actor and a writer, and ended up being a writer. Acting was not completely my bag. But I just assumed you did the same thing because you have these unconscious biases, right? Where you go, oh, she just moved there. She's totally single and picked up and moved. That's crazy. That's even more brave.
We were actually talking about it the other day because somebody went, "You're married?" I think there's something about being really ambitious sometimes that comes off as like single energy
For women, for
Yeah.
sure.
and it's hard because you don't want to be the person like Joy and John are always together, and so it makes sense for her to always be talking about him because he's a part of all of our lives.
John is your husband.
Sorry,
my
yes.
guess.
Okay. But mine's not here, and he's not in entertainment. He's not really it's hard for him to get comedy because of the language.
Right.
It's no fun having to have a joke explained to you.
Right.
And so it's kind of just my space.
Right.
Even though he's supportive,
Sure.
it's hard to kind of bring those two together. And so I asked her, I was like, do I have single energy? And she's like, kinda, yeah.
You kind of do. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought you were. I had no idea you were married. Not a clue. Didn't sniff it out at all. I'm pretty good at sniffing stuff out. So I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, pleasantly.
Yeah.
It's nothing better than. To me, being married's awesome.
Yes.
When you're married to the right person, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because you don't have to deal. I could not. I don't know how these girls do it. The stories they tell, because I end up the mother figure, and they all come to me, and the stories they tell, I'm like, oh God, I'm so glad I don't have to do that.
Right.
Like I can eat cake, I can get fat.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about not eating anymore. Like,
Right.
ugh.
That's true. And I think a lot of the best comics, male or female, are informed by real life experiences. And I think if you miss the boat as a woman for being married or having a kid, or not miss the boat, but I think if it comes after fame, you have a different perspective.
Yeah.
So I know we have friends who are, quote, struggling with their new kids. They have 2 nannies. And I'm like, seriously? When we had our first kid, Georgia was 3 days old and Bert went on the road. And I had a 3-day-old by myself. And I worked a job at the same time in my house. So I was working while raising a baby totally by myself. And he was making like $500 a weekend,
Yeah.
And I think that is actually a gift.
I agree.
100% a gift. Because then you go, as highfalutin as Bert Kreischer gets with the I'm the reason we're successful, I'm the reason. It's not true. He actually knows that we built this together and we come from the same like playing ground. And I think that is really special for what you two are doing, because then whatever you build on top of it will be solid.
Right. It'll be strong.
It'll be strong. I think when people come to those things after, it's a bit maybe, what do I know? This is my experience, is that I built it on top of this from the
Right.
bottom up. But when I observe, I go, wow, that's some serious white people problem you got right there. that ain't a problem. You have to manage your 2 nannies, really? That's not a problem. You don't know what a problem is. That's a problem is you pick a baby up and it throws down your back, down your back, and you're by yourself. And you got another baby crying, and it's just too much going on. Oh, who's at my front door? I'm so sorry.
No, but John, when Brody, our youngest, was 1, John went to Portland, Oregon for a year. And we had just gotten custody of our oldest son from his crazy mom, but she didn't know John was out of the state. So when I was doing monitored visits, because we had to, it was crazy. When we were doing monitored visits, I would have to tell Tyler, I'm like, okay, don't lie to your mom. But if she asks where daddy is, daddy's at work, because it's not a lie. Daddy's out of state, because we were so afraid she would go to the courts and be like, they have him, they fought for him, and then he left the country, or he left the state.
Right.
And yeah, so for he was gone 8 months, and just juggling all of that and pretending everything was fine. I get it. That was a very strong experience, because then I realized I could do it by myself.
Right.
And then I appreciated John's help when he came back. Well, not at first. When he came back, I was like, oh my God, go away. I already have my, I had my schedule.
You're screwing up, yeah.
And he messed it up a lot, but he kept saying, I'm here to help now.
Right.
And that was when I was like, okay. And you give up a little bit of the control, but yeah, that whole 8 months was a growing experience, and it made me more comfortable with as a mom. And that's when I decided, after we fought for custody of Tyler, and we finally got him and we finally got our family situated, then I started looking at myself, and I'm like, what would make me happy?
Right.
So that's when the comedy and the books and everything started to come about. And I know EmmaLeigh has like different experience, but kind of the same, where you go through something and then you build on top of that, and you become stronger, and you realize you can do more.
Right. Yeah. Right. What happened to you that was strong, that made you stronger?
I don't know. Like I just kind of had a rough upbringing, and then I moved away when I was 17. That's where I met my husband, and while I was pregnant, we were doing his immigration paperwork, and I think it was 2 or 3 days after Isabel was born, we were told that he had to leave the country to get some paperwork. And so when she was like 3 weeks old, we had to leave her for a month or so. And that was hard, because like I have a hard time trusting my family.
Yeah.
I was abused by my older half brother.
Oh, okay.
Like pretty much my entire childhood until I was like 11. And so, yeah. I'm not going to cry. This isn't Oprah.
It's okay if you cry. Crying is part of life.
Yeah.
And you deserve to cry. That's okay. I would understand why that would be hard.
Just, trusting people that you couldn't trust with yourself.
Right.
And we tried to get her passport to be able to go with us and everything, and it came the day after we left. I was so sad.
Are you kidding?
I was so upset.
This is terrible.
Oh, I was so upset. And I, like, stupidly, like, teenager, have you ever seen the movie Juno?
No, I haven't.
It's a girl who gives up her baby for adoption, and I was just on the plane just crying, and you've just had a baby, so you can't even sit down at that point,
and your emotions are just wackadoo.
I was like, she gave up her baby because she wanted to. I didn't want to leave mine.
Oh,
and
my
I was just on the plane, like and it's so many planes. It's like 3 different planes from where I'm from in Canada to get to Mexico City, and it's the worst thing ever. And you want to be able to breastfeed, but you're away so long that like your milk just stops. And
how terrible. So why did you have to go with him?
Because I was petitioning for him.
I see.
So I had to be with him.
Got it.
To get the paperwork done.
And you had to go to Mexico City? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I had to go back.
What a nightmare.
Oh, so sad. I'm so upset.
But Isabel was okay when you got back.
She was fine. It was this weird, like, it's your kid, but they change so much so quickly when they're little that it was kind of is it really, did you change her? What happened? Why is she so different?
You were gone for how long?
We were gone just over a month.
That's a long time when they're that little.
Yeah.
Because you're right. They're a totally different kid when you come back. When they're first born, they look like, a prune.
Yeah, like old man.
Yeah, like an old man. They're just all pruned up.
And she was a lot darker when she was first born, and I came back and I was like, there's no way this is my kid. She like, her skin lightened up a lot and everything, and she was chunky because my mom feeds everyone too much. And, so it was just trying to rebond after that.
Was hard.
I think it came easy, but it's just I was a young mom anyway. And so figuring out how to jump back into being a mom
Right.
with this baby you haven't seen for so long.
That and you were only with her for 3 weeks and then left for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So those first 3 weeks are very different than when they're a little older. You know, it's intense in that you're up all the time and you're feeding them all the time. But as they get older, they are more aware and they can be not harder, but it's just different. It's very different. And to have taken that leap, you know, most moms gradually just go from birth to that, you know, 2 month, and you just went from like almost 1 month to 2 month. That's a big leap.
It was hard. It was hard on her because
Sure.
they're so little and they're asleep all the time when they're first born. She didn't necessarily remember us. I think she knew our voices because babies take that in even when they're not born yet. But it was hard for her figuring out like, who are these different people? Your arms don't feel right. And things like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. But she's great. I like her.
So then you were living in Nova Scotia until a year ago.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that? For a living, what were you doing?
I did musical theater a lot.
Oh, okay.
Before I found comedy. I'd always loved stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how anybody started stand-up.
Yeah.
And the ones that I really knew about were like Robin Williams and everything.
Well,
so
yeah.
I thought it was theater. I thought it was like a one-person show.
I see.
And so I did a lot of music and acting. And then we owned a bar for a little while.
You and your husband?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like a music venue, and there's comedy shows. That's actually how I found stand-up. Was there when we bought the bar, there was already an open mic being run there.
Okay.
And I went, oh, this is how people do this.
This is how you start.
Oh. And then I watched for a few months and went, I think I want to do that. I think I want to try, because I never thought I was a funny person.
Yeah.
I loved comedy, but I didn't think I was funny. And I went to theater school, and they kept trying to give me these funny parts. And I went, no, I'm a serious actress. I want drama. I want to make people cry.
Yeah.
Because when my family was very Mormon.
Oh, okay.
When I was growing up, and in church, with you, when you sing and perform and things like that, you don't clap. It's not respectful in church.
Oh, okay.
And so the only way you could make an audience react was either making them laugh or making them cry.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I still don't like when people applaud. I have a really hard time with that. But the laughing and everything, I love it. It's so good.
Do you talk about that on stage? You're not being uncomfortable with people applauding?
I haven't talked about that, but people have said that I should. But
I think you should.
yeah, it's still even strange with me. Like, I'll run off stage as soon as I'm done because people are applauding, and I'm like, I don't like this feeling. It's bad. Oh, Jesus is mad. Jesus is crying. Why are we doing this?
So are you still Mormon?
No.
No.
I'm post-Mormon.
Post-Mormon. Is that a thing, or did you just make that up?
It's a thing. There's
a thing.
There's a lot of us.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary that Imagine Dragons guys did. Did you see that?
I haven't.
Oh, it
but
was
I can-
really fascinating. I don't know anything about Mormonism. I grew up Southern Baptist. No Mormons in Georgia that I knew of.
Yeah.
Don't know much about the religion at all. I was really fascinated. I learned a lot from this guy's documentary, just trying to put a concert on.
Yeah.
He just wanted to put on a concert, and, to have Mormons who were gay be accepted.
Yeah.
And have some Mormon or post-Mormons who were gay in the entertainment industry and music in particular perform, and have the Mormon church recognize it.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense. I was like, wow, really? You seriously, really today really ostracize someone for their sexuality, like to that extent. That's kind of a dirty secret.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not what God is about. In my opinion, he's about love. He loves everybody. He made the person.
I know.
So you think the devil came in and made him gay? I don't think so.
No, with Mormonism, what happens a lot of the time is that there's the belief in the pre-existence. And so what the idea was is that all of the challenges and bad things or good things and that happen in your life, you agreed to before you came to Earth.
Okay.
Which isn't the greatest belief to have when you're growing up, because when abusive things happen, you think that you agreed to that.
That's bad.
Yeah. And so you think, well, I just have to figure out how to hack this because I loved Heavenly Father so much that I said that this is fine and I'm going to be able to be a good, faithful person and just deal with it. Because that was my challenge.
Wow.
And so it's, yeah. And so when they say, for people that are gay or trans or anything, they're like, those are feelings that you were given that you're not supposed to act on because that was your challenge.
I see.
And if you act on them, you're going against, because basically what there is you can say you're gay, but you're not in trouble until you act on it. And so there's a lot of women that if a man comes out as gay, they're like, I will take on that challenge and prove that he just has gay attraction. That's what they call it. It's just gay attraction.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they're like, we'll have a family, and that's all he needs. Is he just needs the support system. That's my mission, is to be able to help him through his gay attraction,
To straighten him out.
yeah.
What a tragedy.
Yeah.
And what a tragedy that you were taught to apply those teachings to justify something terrible happening for you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no justification for that. None whatsoever. That is actually not of God.
No, it's
Doing that to a child is not.
No.
That's not in any way, shape, or form anybody's lesson. His either, by the way.
yeah. No, that was the thing. I'm like, the thing that was hard for me is that, so when you're in the Mormon church, you don't get baptized until you're 8 or older. And he was actually the person that baptized me.
What?
Yeah. And I remember being in the office that you have to talk to the bishop and different people before you can get baptized. And he had to talk to the bishop before he could baptize me. And I remember being little and thinking, Heavenly Father's going to tell the bishop what's happening, because the bishop, they believe in modern revelation. And so I was like, the bishop's going to know because the Holy Ghost is going to speak to him, or Heavenly Father's going to tell him, and then they're not going to let him baptize me, and they're going to help and everything. And then nothing happened. And it was hard for me to understand. I was like, well, I guess it's not time for my lesson to be over.
Wow.
So sorry, I'm really sad for that little girl.
Yeah. It's okay to be sad for that little girl. That little girl carried a lot.
Yeah.
She carried too much, more than she should have. And she trusted people that let her down, including Heavenly Father and the Spirit. Really, because that's not okay. Yeah. That's not okay. Were your parents not aware?
I think there were 8 kids in the family, and I think people knew things, but it's really easy to ignore signs when there's so many people.
It's hard sometimes. I think I was just talking about this over Thanksgiving. Sometimes it's easier to just let the dysfunction continue than confront it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you don't see it. It just means you choose the path of least resistance, even though not confronting it causes actually more problems in the long term. The idea of confronting in the now is too much for some people.
My mom even still has a hard time with it. I remember because like they had to get like children's services involved and everything.
Oh my God.
My sister, one of my sisters actually went and
Older
told,
or younger sister? Older sister. So it was the two of you?
No, she just found out about it.
Oh, he was only
I
targeting
think
you?
it was me, and then he was starting with my little sister.
Oh.
And I feel really bad about it. My little sister said something to me, and I said, we just have to keep it a secret.
Oh.
But she told one of my older sisters.
Good.
And
Because he probably led you to believe that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And just everything about those things happening makes you want to be secret. And growing up in a very religious, conservative household, also you feel like you're the bad person in it.
Right.
Because nobody talks about, people only talk about sin, but they don't talk about sin happening to people.
Right.
They talk about people inviting sin in or not listening to the Holy Ghost or things like that. And so no one's taught to defend themselves.
You're taught to accept responsibility for everything, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
And to repent. And
God, this sounds a lot like Southern Baptist.
guilt.
Repent. That you were born of sin. You shall repent until the day you die. Yeah, I heard that over and over again. And I was like, really? I don't think God meant for something that feels that good to be sinful. Right. Call me crazy. But
I'm thinking he probably liked it a little bit too.
maybe. I mean, he
Just a
probably went,
tad.
you guys are going to love this one thing.
Yeah.
And it happens to make babies. So
Here you go.
Oops.
what a brave person you are. Sexual assault on a child causes the child to take on so many responsibilities that aren't their own and to personify shame.
Yeah.
I feel like shame is one of the hardest things to overcome. And when you're talking about you feel so sad for that little girl, I feel sad for that little girl too, because you feel like there's so much shame that didn't belong to you that you just accept, and you feel like, well, definitely this is my fault.
Yeah.
Definitely this is something I've done. Definitely I shouldn't tell anybody because he'll get in trouble. And I don't want, the hard thing I think about family stuff is that it's so complicated, because there's probably part of you that loved your half brother, that wanted him to be normal, that wanted this to not be happening, that would have done anything for this to have stopped, so that you had a regular brother, not just what was being done to you, but because you want, this is all speculation on my part. I was never assaulted in this way as a child, but you would want everybody to be happy and it all to be good, and anything it takes to keep the peace, and all those things are just so much a little girl should not have to deal with.
Yeah. And I think when you're little, it's so much easier for you to just turn it off.
Right.
Like to just imagine things away.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was 14 or 15, like George's age, where it was the first time I really remember being depressed.
Oh, yeah.
Like really feeling it. Because being assaulted as a kid, like, it's hard, but also when it's a family thing, it feels gross and dirty. And like, kids are so mean to each other. It's not something that you talk about. And even if you did, you're like, oh, people are going to say I'm gross.
Right.
Or something, because it's a family thing. And that's just, it feels, not judging, like, everything's awful, anything's awful.
Yes.
But that just feels even worse.
It's another layer.
Sometimes. For me, it felt worse.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
It seems like another layer, because then there's a judgment on you maybe, or on him, or on your whole family tribe, that these people are not okay people, or they're gross, like you said. And I would think too, it would make the healing more complicated.
Yeah, because you're with the people that you're also upset at. That you're like, you didn't protect me, and you're still not responding in the way that I feel like I need you to.
Right.
Even as growing up, they made us go to see a counselor, but my parents were very much not happy with that because it wasn't a church counselor.
I see.
And so the whole way there, I remember her saying, we say that we forgave already, that, that we believe that Heavenly Father he takes care of it. He's the one that judges. I love my brother and everything's fine. And so I would just sit in a room with this counselor and not say anything.
Oh my God. My stomach is burning.
No.
Because that's just
What you were taught.
Yeah, that's just what we were taught. And my parents are better now because I set limits to what they can do with my daughter, but I still have I very quickly in my head, I'm like, oh, I could never speak to my mother again and be fine.
Right.
Well, there we go.
As Bert flashes us through the glass door. Perfect timing, babe. Perfect timing. Yeah, perfect timing.
You guys done?
No. We were just in a very serious conversation and then you flashed. No, it's fine.
You're good.
It's
It was
fine.
probably needed to be done.
It was a levity. It was a levity.
Yeah,
A little
we
gear
needed it.
shifter. How you doing?
No.
Did you just get back from spin class?
Yeah.
You're shaky.
A little shaky.
You know why? Because you drank so much wine this weekend.
I know. I'm like putting on my seatbelt. Can you hear me? I'm putting on my seatbelt and my hand's shaking. I feel like Michael J. Fox. Like I'm like shaky.
That's how I felt yesterday.
Oh, fuck. I'm on the wagon.
Oh yeah, I'm on the wagon
all
too.
afternoon.
We went wine tasting for Thanksgiving
You're on the wagon.
All afternoon.
all afternoon.
Christ.
What time is it?
But
Is it afternoon yet?
afternoon's over,
I don't
isn't
even know.
So wait, what were you saying? Tell them about.
I was saying
wine
we
tasting.
went wine tasting, and I am not meant for that sport. That sport is not meant for me. And I was completely hammered by the second vineyard. We had 3. And then by the third vineyard, we literally took the bus home. I walked in the door, went out on the couch, and passed out. And I haven't passed out in probably 10, 12 years. 12 years. It was the last time I passed out. It was right before I got pregnant with Isla, so 12 years ago.
Yeah,
it was the
see,
last time I got that drunk.
really bad.
It was awful.
Yeah,
And that's how
I didn't rape her. If that's what everyone's asking.
No, but I mean, I was like, I have to lay down or I'm going to fall down. And then I couldn't sleep all night because I had some kind of allergic reaction. My whole chest broke out and I was like shaky, like he's talking about. And it was like, my brain was like worrying. I wasn't even thinking thoughts. It just sounded like. So I was like, I'm just going to read. I feel like, did someone roofie me at this wine tasting? I don't know what's happening.
Bert, did you roofie her?
No.
And then yesterday I was a bit of a mess.
Any
I was
Bill
like, oh my
Cosby's?
God.
Joy Bill Cosby'd me at Thanksgiving.
I didn't put a pill in it. I just put alcohol in
Oh
it.
my God.
I had alcohol for the first time at Thanksgiving.
I'm
For the
sorry,
first
I'm sorry,
time?
over?
That was the first time ever?
Yeah.
It was my fault.
Oh, walk me through this.
What happened? What do you mean?
Because I grew up Mormon, and so
yeah.
you don't drink, and I felt like if alcohol really makes me feel better, I'll probably have a problem. So I just never drank, and then she put alcohol in my gateway to eating my feelings food, which is pudding. And yeah, I was like, well, I'm not gonna not eat the pudding.
You have to.
I
It's your
have
gateway to
It
not feeling
has
your
whipped
feelings.
cream. It's like a mousse texture. I'm gonna
What
eat.
kind of pudding was this?
It was
fucking amazing.
It was-
pudding. I don't know.
it was rum chata, chocolate pudding, and a whole thing of whipped cream.
Shut up. That
Because
sounds
you know-
amazing.
Like I tell my kids, the only way to get rid of peer pressure is to give in because I'm a good mom.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I was making all these pudding shots and I made her put them in the little cups because I'm an asshole. And I'm like, look, no, I need you to do this for me because, you know, making pudding is so hard and intensive labor.
Right.
So I had her spooning it in and then I was
like,
licking
it's my
the bowl.
favorite texture.
God.
Look at it.
It's
So
amazing.
what did you think about alcohol?
I was like, I don't feel anything. She's like, then you should eat another. And
So that is the most brilliant way to talk about alcohol. I got to be over by the end for this. I don't feel anything is the first time I ever got drunk. I was with Alan Rieger and Cayman Lazara, and we were drinking Natty Lights in the back lot behind his house. You've heard this story before, Halston. I've told the story before. And Mrs. Rieger pulled us into the kitchen, sat us down in their kitchen, and then dumped all the beers onto the table and said, boys, what are these? And my brain said, I know we're supposed to be freaked out right now, but I feel perfect. And I went, I think I just found my best friend.
Yeah.
See, I
and
didn't think
tingling.
that.
Yeah.
The first time I got drunk, it was off of gin. Still can't.
Fuck!
Yeah. Still
Right?
cannot
You a
stand this.
flapper?
Yeah.
Right?
Still can't stand the smell of
But it
Christmas
was
trees.
still in the bathtub.
Christmas
so-
trees.
Yeah, it smells like Christmas trees to me.
Gin?
Gin.
Juniper.
It's ugh.
Juniper has
Oh,
a-
got it.
And
got
I
it.
got so drunk, and they just bought a new puppy. It was my friend's house, so I went outside to puke, and the puppy followed
Oh,
me.
no.
And it was licking my face while I was vomiting.
Oh no!
And I turned and I go, no puppy, and I vomited
no.
all over the puppy. And I
Oh,
didn't tell
no.
anyone, and I left. And the next day they're like, man, we don't know what the puppy got into. It
Oh.
rolled in something. So that was my first time.
Oh my God! First time I got drunk, I was drinking Country Quencher.
Johnson was
no,
racing Baylor.
shut up. I was drinking Country Quencher, Boone's Farm.
Boone's
Farm.
You'd like Boone's Farm. We'll have to do
It's
that
like
one too.
eating a
We'll do that one
popsicle,
next.
right?
It is like
It's an
a
alcoholic
popsicle.
popsicle melted.
Yummy.
Southern Comfort's got that. Southern Comfort's got that where you don't realize what you're doing until it's too late.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, oh shit, this is more than I wanted.
See, that's what I was trying not to get to because I had.
She had one.
No,
One
I
pudding
did not,
pop?
and then I had to go to the Comedy Store, so it was great.
Oh, they're so strict too about drugs and alcohol.
Oh, I
there.
know. So yeah.
I stay away from that place when I'm trying to be sober.
Right?
God.
No, but I was like, I'm going to be responsible, and then I was like, guys, I don't feel anything. And they're like, your eyes don't look like you don't feel anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can I start? I'm gonna leave you guys to be for a second. Can I start a conversation that I'd like you guys to carry on? Oh boy. Today in spin class, my spin teacher was saying something to the effect of negative thoughts, negative conversations you have with yourself. You know, when we talk about eating our feelings away or drinking our feelings away, those negative thoughts. And I had a tad bit of an epiphany of I wouldn't be friends with myself. If my inner thoughts were my brain, if my brain was a real person, I would not be friends with me. Yeah. I would not like the way I talk to me. I don't like the way I treat me. And I don't like the things I think about myself. And then I said, how do I get away from that? Because like my friends are much nicer than I am to myself.
Yes.
So I'll let you guys go from there, but I want to hear. I'm just gonna sit and listen.
Are you gonna sit and listen?
Because I'm a little blown away, and I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know how to correct it. But I know that it's a problem. I laid in bed, fighting with myself this morning, and coming up with a movie idea, but fighting with myself. But that was and I was like, and then in spin class, I'm still fighting with myself, and then I heard the guy go, you don't have to have negative thoughts. I was like, I definitely would not fucking be friends with myself.
I would because I would be like, I agree with everything you're saying. Like all the negative, I'd be like, you are correct. Yeah. Can I have some more? You are correct. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I feed myself off the negative, but I exude the motherly. Like I will be the first person to hug you. I'll be the first person to talk you up. Same with massage. I want to make everyone feel better, which is same with comedy. I want everyone to feel better, but I like all the negative in me. I feel like if I keep it in me and I just think about it in me, then everybody else will be happy and I'm okay. Like I can live with that.
That's not healthy.
It's not.
It's
Like I didn't say it
massively
was
not healthy. That's way not healthy, Joy.
We'll hide all those because like all of those are just I can't, like you saw me, you're like, oh my God, those are amazing, and I was like, no, I just wanted to show you, like that's all.
Yeah.
Like I can't. And anytime I get off stage and everybody's like, that joke is funny, or same with like EmmaLeigh was saying, you know, people, you'll be talking to people and I'll just be talking because like at one point I tell people that, you know, John and I have a pact that whoever files for a divorce first has to take the kids.
Uh-huh.
So my marriage is solid.
Right.
And nobody wants them. Everybody's like, have you ever said that on stage? And I'm like, no, that's just me. But, you know, they're like, oh, that's funny. And I can't handle that.
Why?
Like, I don't know.
You can't handle someone saying, "Oh, that's funny."
No, and I don't like praise. I absolutely hate praise.
I hate praise.
Fuck. I gotta get the fuck out of here. I should have never been a part of this.
By the way, the table's in the back of the car. Like,
What?
the massage table's in the back of the
Oh
car.
my God, I'm gonna leave What you did to my shins really opened them up, and they felt fucking
Good.
amazing. I would love to have you come back and give me a massage again. You did a great fucking job.
Hell yeah.
But I'm gonna
Nice.
leave you guys with the ugly voices in my head.
Awesome. Have fun with those guys.
We gotta buy a car today.
Yeah, I know. I got you. He's so funny. He does do that to himself. It's very punitive. You know, I have a different belief system, I think. I used to be that way a long time ago when I was young. And then I thought to myself, how would I talk to my 5-year-old self? Then why aren't I talking to my adult self the same way? Not like, ooh, but caring and forgiving and complimentary, because I would do that for any 5-year-old. Well, why wouldn't I do that for myself? Sometimes I think in order to be able to receive from the universe, you have to own what you have. To say, I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. I own that.
Right.
I did that. Give me more. And to say, don't look at that. I don't want to see that. Then the universe goes, oh, well, she's not interested in that. Okay, well, maybe she doesn't want to do that. And then you have to fight through that.
Right.
I think if you open yourself up and you go, no, this, not in an ego way, but in an honest ownership way. Yeah. I moved to LA by myself a year ago. I have a plan, and I did that. And to own that. I'm not a Scientologist, but I did go to a school that the teacher was Scientologist, hardcore Scientologist. And I learned so much from that time. He used to say, if you don't celebrate, really celebrate, then it's harder for the universe to continue to give. So you say, I should have a glass of wine because I finished my next book. I don't mean like a ticker tape parade, but I mean like an inside celebration of who you are. And to say, I'll take the praise, not from an egotistical place, but from another way of that 5-year-old hearing, that was really awesome. Yeah. That was really awesome. So that you can receive more. Because I think that's how the flow builds, right? I think we were trying to buy this car. Bert wanted this Escalade. I was like, I don't really think we need to spend that much money on a car. I don't really need that car. I don't have a problem with this car. But I kept going, no, I want this car. I want it in this color. I want it. Couldn't find it. Hired a broker. She found it. The car got traded before we could finish the paperwork. Lost that car. So we fired her. And then we went back and hired her again. And then you found another car, same color, everything you wanted. On our way to pick it up, they sold it. Mm-hmm. So my brain goes, this is not supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. This is not the right car. We are not in the flow, right? Life should flow. Doesn't mean that it's not hard, but you should see the progression and ask for more of that, please. May I have more of that, please? More flow. Right. Mm-hmm. More flow. And I think for me, anyway, when I was in all that punitive negative talk, I was so punitive, mean to myself, you're so fat, blah, blah, blah. And I've weighed 100 pounds, I was stuff that doesn't even make sense. But I beat myself up so much. I really think it blocked my ability to flow, that it stopped my flow. But that's just my opinion. I think some people do feed on negative talk, that motivates them to do more. You didn't meet the mark. You better do it this time. I think some people do function that way.
Well, that's hard for me to, I don't know. Like, okay, the books, for instance, and the comedy.
Okay, first of all, Joy wrote a bunch of books. There's 6 here. Is this all you've written?
Well, I've ghostwritten a lot of books.
You
for
have?
other people.
This is amazing.
But, I have to sign non-disclosure agreements. Yeah, those are gone. And then I wrote a really, really dirty book under a different name.
Dirty how?
It's very...
Like sexy dirty?
It's erotic, yeah.
Oh, how cool is that?
Lesbians.
It's sexy lesbians. It was a bet, and I did it, and I guess I won. I don't know. But
I bet a lot of people won.
That's the funny thing about reading Joy's books as her friend is now I get to know what gets my friend hot.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
But that's another thing, like Breaking Faith, for instance, it's about a girl who was in a very abusive relationship.
Yeah.
So that was me. Her name was Faith. I'm Joy. And so I gave pieces of myself to that book.
Sure.
And I had decided, because I felt a lot of that abuse that my ex-boyfriend used to put on me was holding me back.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't want to carry it any longer. So I gave it to Faith, and I made her strong enough to hold it. And then I gave her a really sexy rock star to have sex with, and they get married and they have baby. So I gave that to her, and then I was like, okay, that's no longer my past. I don't want it anymore.
Right.
But then also now that when people are like, I want to read your books, I don't want them to, because I'm like, that's me.
Right.
Like that is my past, and that is stuff that because I was never going to publish it.
Right.
And it just kind of snowballed and got published. And same with comedy. I think that's why I have a hard time when people are like, that's really funny, because that's my
Part of
life.
you. So interesting. So you have a need to be seen, but don't want to be seen.
Yes.
That's such a dichotomy. How do you fix it? Not do you need to fix it, but how do you balance that? Because you have to be seen as a comic.
Right.
Right? How do you fix that?
I don't remember which comedian said it, but they said a lot of comedians are site-specific extroverts. Not all, but a lot of them. And so a lot of the times when you meet comedians, they're very introverted and pensive people. And there's just some compulsion in us where we're like, I want to do this. For me, it's more about being on stage and creating something and wanting to do that, as opposed to people seeing me, because the same thing. I hate praise. I don't do well with it. I'm really hard on myself in my head. And I personally feel like there's the preoccupation for me that if I were nicer to myself, I wouldn't get as much done.
Interesting. That's interesting. I wonder, that's so fascinating. We are all, I think, try to stay in our comfort zone as a human nature, right? You don't want to get out of your comfort zone.
See, I'm never comfortable.
But that's your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But that's your comfort zone to say, I'm never comfortable.
And that's me. Like, it's funny because I was massaging a patient and I was telling her all these things that I've been doing lately that are just so silly. And like, I will walk in and tell EmmaLeigh, I'm like, don't let me talk anymore. Please don't. Because things come out and I will make things so awkward. And I'm like, why did you let me talk? And
Love it.
my patient was like, but that's you.
Yeah.
And you have to start owning your awkward anxiety.
Yes, exactly.
And that was about a week ago, and I'm trying. It's very hard because like I will walk in a room and in my head I'm like, don't be Joy. Don't be Joy. Be anybody
Oh my
but
gosh.
Joy.
You should just let's be all of Joy.
And like silly, I name dropping Maz Jabrani. I was massaging him and I was being really good. Like we were having a full on nice conversation, because when it gets to medical or books or comedy, like if I'm knowledgeable about it, I'm comfortable. And I was massaging him and I hit a knot and I was working on it and he goes, I love you, Joy. And I go, I love you too. And in my head, I'm like, you were Joy. You were Joy. And then Judd Apatow looked at me and kind of like laughed. And I was like, that was witnessed by people. Okay. And I'm trying to own like, okay, that's just who I am. And that's really hard.
Well, but the thing is, I don't really want to go on to a comedy show and watch me, just a regular, ordinary person. I want to go and see someone who is quirky and different and struggles out loud, and then lets me sit quietly with my struggle and go, I kind of do that too.
Right.
I mean, that's part of what the being seen piece that's important is. That the thing is too, I think that shrinking, right? Shrinking doesn't serve the world.
Right.
You're not put here to shrink.
Right.
You're put here to grow. Right. So if you keep pushing yourself down and saying, don't look at those books, or yeah, I can't believe I just said that. You're continually pushing yourself down.
Right.
When God put you here to grow. And in being who you are, you inspire other people to be who they are.
Right.
And we're all supposed to be different. I know I got to a certain point, a long time I tried to lose my Southern accent for a long, long time.
Oh, no.
And I got to a certain point and I went, why am I doing that?
Right.
This is actually, I'm not even putting on myself. This is how I talk.
Right.
So why am I trying to change this fundamental piece of who I am? It's not just how I talk, but the language I talk. Like I call my kids, they wear breeches. They don't wear pants. Why do I keep trying to say pants? Is it because I need to fit in? Why can't I just be myself?
Right.
And then if you don't like me as this, then we're not meant to be friends.
See, that's hard. That's hard for me because I want everyone to like me. And
That is hard.
it's so hard. And then like when EmmaLeigh was talking about all of her stuff, I'm like in my head going, how can I make her laugh right now? Like, you know, I want, you know, she's crying and like, I have to fix this. Like I'm the fixer. So she's crying and I'm like, okay, I have to say something inappropriate, you know? And then Bert comes along and flashes and I'm like, that was what I go
That's
to.
what we needed.
I was going to show my boobs just now, you know? Like,
we can all show our boobs.
fix it.
There you go.
Stop crying. Nobody's crying. There's no crying in Joy's world. Like, you know, like everybody has to be happy.
But crying is good.
Crying is good.
Crying's healthy.
I know, but I don't know.
She just feels so much
Yeah.
for the people she cares about.
I could see that.
Yeah. Like,
I could see how you may be a bit of an empath.
just a little.
Yeah. So
a tiny.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I love watching her face when she's massaging.
Yeah.
Because when she'll find something, it's like she knows that thing is what's been hurting that person.
Right.
And she'll get a sad face and she'll
Aw.
make this face when she's so upset for them.
Uh-huh.
And it's the cutest thing where I'm just like, oh, she's momming.
She found it.
She found it. I know she found something good because she'll just get really sad for a second and then like, I'm going to fix it.
That's really great.
That's me. I'm the fixer. Like, but I can fix everyone else. And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you're better than you think.
Maybe.
I think you probably are a lot better than you think.
Yeah.
I think she catastrophizes really quickly.
That is
You
maybe a
think?
comic trait.
As soon as something didn't go well or she thinks she joyed too much, she'll go, they hate me. They hate me. And I'm like, nobody hates
Everybody
you,
hates
Joy.
me.
So have you talked about joying too much?
No, I haven't.
You should totally do a bit about joyful, joyness, the joy. I've been joyed. I'm joined now. We are now. You have been joyed. I hope you enjoy the joy. You should totally riff on that because that's really funny. I would think that's really funny because I'd go, oh my God, I'd do at least 80% of what she just said. That's hysterical.
And we actually, we say that. So I'll do something and she'll go, oh, you just joyed right now.
Yeah.
You should totally talk
being
about that
joy.
on stage because then that gives the audience something to hold on to and they'll go home and they go, oh, you just joyed.
You joyed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to fix you.
Yeah, I'm the fixer. I'm going to insert joy everywhere in your life.
If I was a man,
Right?
I'd
There would be
inserting everywhere.
joy injection in every orifice for you.
Here's
However,
my joystick.
exactly. That's
Oh.
really funny.
It's so good I don't have a joystick. So bad.
Oh
already
my
hump
goodness.
the air too much.
I
and
do.
You don't have one.
You hump the air?
all the time.
Yeah,
So good.
I have sex with the air a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
And for what purpose?
I don't know, like
For joy?
just joy. Because I'm like, I'll just be all and
Oh,
then
got it.
Polly Shore will walk by and run away. I've scared Polly Shore.
Oh, that's pretty hard to
That's
do.
where she goes. She's like, oh, he hates me. He's terrified of me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's Polly Shore. I'm pretty sure he's seen some mucky shit.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably much worse. Probably much worse.
But he walked away pretty fast.
He walks away pretty fast all the time.
Yeah.
So these books on the table, they look like shadowy and kind of spooky. Are they thriller?
No, that one I made transparent. I made the cover of. Obviously, I'm not a cover designer. That one actually is the funniest book I've ever written.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's about a girl who falls in love with a 19th century ghost in modern time, and it's kind of like Dorian Gray-esque, and he gets stuck to this painting and he's completely invisible. And then as their relationship evolves, he becomes less transparent, and as his feelings become more transparent. And it's actually super funny. And then the breaking faith, the surviving faith, and the becoming faith are Faith's journey in finding Kill, the lead singer at the Jackals. And then Balk is also fun. They're all funny. I mean, I try it.
I would imagine.
I have to put some spin on it, I think. And yeah.
Balk
so
is her baseball book.
Yeah, it's my softball book.
Yeah.
Oh, you play softball?
I played softball a little bit, but I wasn't good at it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why'd you write a book about softball?
I needed something where they had to be apart. So she was in love with him from the beginning, like junior high. He was a major league pitcher, and then he breaks his arm. And while he's healing, he goes and helps his old pitching coach, and she's on that team in college. So they're technically, because he's the coach, she's the player, they're not supposed to be together. So I wanted that where they couldn't be together. So I'm a very slow burn. Like all of my romances, they get to know each other before they even kiss. Like the first book, Breaking Faith, they don't kiss till the very end of the book.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'm that person. So I needed a way for them to become friends because
She's a tease.
I am a tease.
Ah.
And that was my nickname in high school. No, I'm kidding. And so I like the slow burn, but I also like the dialogue. I like you to they're all people.
Right.
You know, every character has something in them. So I just wanted you to get the dialogue before you got the sex.
Got it. That's cool. Should be really proud of yourself. You wrote a bunch of books.
Yeah.
When do you do that?
At night.
Do you sleep ever?
No. Hence
Yeah.
the bags under my eyes. But, you know, and then the 3 boys, and then the comedy and the massage and the podcast and whatever.
Everything else.
Everything else. I'm like, thankfully I met EmmaLeigh because I pawned a lot of stuff off on her now. I'm like, you do that now.
Well, the lesson here is for people who are listening. If you don't think you have time to write a book, you're wrong.
So true.
You're absolutely wrong. Because if you wrote, I see 6 here, I have a feeling that's not, you just said, you ghost written, and you have another book that's really erotic.
Yeah.
So clearly, if you are pursuing a career as a stand-up, have a job as a massage therapist, are the mom of 3 boys, married, and you can write these books, then anybody who's thinking about writing a book can write a book,
Very true.
including me.
And they'd probably be better. So
I highly doubt that. Don't, see, why'd you do that?
I don't know. I had
can't
to
let it go.
That's not good.
It has to go out. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
It really is very impressive. So where can people buy these books?
They're on Kindle. You can buy them all online. The Kindle app, the Nook app, the Kobo, or you can also go on Amazon and get them in paperback, or you can send them to me and I will sign them and send them back, which I'm really bad at doing. Sorry, people who I owe books to. So,
Well, I will put a link
okay.
on my website.
Okay.
'Cause I have books that I read.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can read one. I'm backlogged. I'm supposed to be reading 2 books for this podcast, and I'm in page like 20 of one.
Yeah.
So later I'll
yeah.
read a book. But I would love to read one because
Okay.
it's amazing to read something someone you know has written.
Right.
You know?
But yeah, you're a writer. Like you actually know what to do.
See, now she's spiraling.
Yeah.
I can't catch your breath.
Don't do that. There's all different
Playing
types
with my
of writing.
fingers. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The worst writer I know is Bert Kreischer. He wrote his book, and
I was just looking at it.
He would give me a chapter, and I would go, "Are you kidding me? How did you graduate college with a degree in creative writing? This is the worst sentence structure I have ever seen. The story, amazing.
Right.
Sentence structure, horrific." So I would like, okay, we got to fix this sentence structure. I think this is what you're trying to say. Yeah, that's it. But you don't have to be a good writer to be a good writer.
Right.
Makes sense?
That's so true.
He's an amazing storyteller. An editor can fix all that shit. So
Yeah, I throw commas in like glitter at a gay parade. My editor's like, why so many commas? I'm like, I don't know.
because they're necessary.
They're pretty.
I thought
They're pretty.
I made them bling. I blinged out the sentence.
I
You're
don't know.
fine.
There was a rhyme in 4th grade, and thought it went there. I don't know. I just
Right?
Yeah.
A comma helps you understand a person's pacing when speaking.
Exactly.
Yes, it helps. Commas are very important.
I think for performers too, like people who, we feel like we have to show where the beats are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where we throw more punctuation in, or because I've not written books, but like shows for theater and everything, and I had to stop myself from putting in beat because I was telling the performers how to act, and I'm like, that's not my job. I'm just supposed to write it, let them figure it out. But you just want to control it so much because you're like, this is how I meant it, and this is how I would do it.
Well, you see it, right? You see it in your brain.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that too. When I was writing one acts, when I was in New York, I'd say beat.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da, beat. Da-da-da-da-da, beat. Da-da-da-da, sigh. Da-da-da-da, laugh. Da-da-da-da, beat.
Yeah.
And I had to stop doing that too.
Yeah, I'm not really big on giving like stage direction.
Right.
I like to let that be organic, but because I find the words so important, I would want to like micromanage the hell out of how they would say it. And I was like, no, just leave it alone.
That's a really hard thing to let go of, I have to say. You know, I had one script that got made into a movie, and when I watched the movie, I was horrified. I was like, I can't even believe they've changed the age of people, which was important to the telling of the story. Now the story doesn't make sense because this character is older. I was, who are these two people that showed up that I never wrote a single, who are these two people? They have no relevance to the storytelling at all. They're just pure exposition. And I was just like, I don't know if I can actually do that anymore, to be able to have a baby and give it to somebody and have them change that baby entirely.
Well, that's the thing too, is I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. But like if my kids do something weird, it's because of their dad. I'm like, oh, that's John. That's all John. The books, there's no dad.
Yeah.
I'm the mom and the dad. So if the books do something weird, I had to take complete, like that's mine.
Yeah.
And that's hard. But I don't know. Like you said, you had to see the book in a movie. That is one of my bigger dreams, because I think like to see the jackholes or to see Transparent would actually be a really good movie, because you know you have the ghost aspect.
We're trying to work it on a presentation.
But to see that in a movie would just be so cool. But then you're right, I would probably be like, no, I didn't write those.
Yeah. It's really hard to process. I mean, we weren't involved in the shooting at all. We saw the finished product and I just about died. I think I was depressed for like 3 weeks.
I think that's the hard thing.
I was so disappointed.
I think that's the hard thing about movies, is because the creator generally has so much less control as opposed to like a TV series or something like that, where you're needed, you're a part of it, you're running a room. And with movies, you just kind of have to go, well, I guess.
Yeah, you hand it over.
Yeah, or with theater, where people can like license the show and then just do whatever they want with it.
Do with it what they will.
Yeah.
It is hard to process. Without your baby, they'd have nothing to do.
Right.
So you feel like, shouldn't you at least ask me?
Right.
Shouldn't you at least say, hey, what do you think if we put these two random police officers in here that have nothing to do with anything? And I would have said, you're a fucking idiot. No.
Girl, I don't want my baby to be Mormon. You need to stop now.
Exactly, right? Come on. I'm clearly Southern Baptist, which is almost the same, but not.
Almost Scientology,
Almost the same.
Not.
So
there's a lot more speaking in tongues. But.
Exactly. And we do handle snakes.
I was just going to say
pretty
snakes.
Fascinating, the snake handling. Actually, my church didn't handle snakes, but there was a church close by that did, which, by the way, makes absolutely no sense to any human walking this planet.
I agree.
Because it's like, do you ever see the movie Flash Gordon? Long time ago. Oh, there's this part in Flash Gordon where you, quote, prove your manhood by sticking your hand in this big stump that has a bunch of holes in it, and there's some animal in there. And if the animal stings you, you weren't meant to be a man, because you fucking die.
Right.
And it's the same with handling snakes. If the snake bites you, God will take care of it.
Right.
And if you live, then you were supposed to live. Are you kidding? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And you know God's like, yeah, you just go.
God,
do
I
it.
know, right?
You know what? We
I'm going
didn't
to
need
turn
this
my
one.
head.
God's going, I did not create this.
Right.
Just FYI, this was not my doing.
And the snakes are going, what the hell? No.
I know, right? Some egotistical asshole in some hillbilly town decided that handling snakes was some proof of God.
I bet it was one guy that had like a talent for snake handling. He's like, you know what? I want to do this in front of more people.
Right?
I'm thinking he got
Jesus helped
bit.
me do it.
Right? How do we make money at this?
He got bit by a
perfect.
garden snake, and he was like, oh.
I can
Didn't
do
realize
that.
there was different kinds of snakes.
No, they do it with rattlesnake.
I know,
It's
but
all
he was like,
rattlesnake.
That's
So
the
crazy.
thing out here is we don't have poisonous things back home.
It's too damn cold.
Yeah,
right? They
no,
don't die.
because we die of the cold, not of. Well, I mean, we have moose, but there's like generally we don't die of animals.
You have bears, right?
We do. I come from like this peninsula, and so we're barely attached.
I
so
see. Not so
They'd have
many.
to
sort
swim.
of,
Sort
yeah.
of, yeah.
But out here, every time I see a spider, I'm like, is that one? Is that one? I don't know. I don't even know. They have a thing on their back. I'm not getting close enough to see its back.
Do you not have spiders in Nova Scotia?
We have spiders, but they don't do anything.
Nothing's poisonous.
No, nothing's poisonous. Nothing makes you sick. They're just
We're
there.
not in Australia.
I was just thinking that. I went to
Right.
Australia with Bert, and they were like, "This snake, when it bites you, your blood turns into Jello." And I was like,
Right.
"What?
Why are you
We thought a
alive?
rattlesnake was bad." I
Right.
mean, they're like, "You'll be dead in 3 minutes."
Skin
Really?
turns inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the spiders over there, they're like the size of a like Volkswagen.
Yeah.
They're huge and they're poisonous.
Yeah, they're very poisonous. No, but out here, there's different plants and stuff. Like Isabel and I will be walking down the street, and she'll go, "What kind of tree is that?" And I was like, "I don't know. Just keep walking. Don't touch it. I don't know what it does."
How funny.
Because when I was here, I was like, I never had an Instagram till I was moving out here because we just didn't need it for anything. And so I went to go take a picture next to a tree, and I was like, I'm going to pretend to be an Instagram model. It's going to be a really funny post. And I did some weird hand motion toward the tree, and there was just brickers all in my arm. And I was like, what is this evil tree?
Oh my gosh, how crazy.
It was awful. I was like, why does everything hate everything here? Americans are so violent. Even their plants attack you.
That's pretty funny. Well, that might be sort of true, but what can we do?
I'd like to joke because my mom is American. Like most of the time, I'm just like, I'm Canadian. But every once in a while, there's just like this evil. It's like in an old like 80s movie where there's a robot, and then like the evil guy jumps in, and the robot like changes colors of their lights and everything, and it's a bad robot now.
Yeah.
That's kind of what being like half American is like. Like
Really?
most of the time, it's like it's super great, and then every once in a while, Robin, that's also my mom's name. It's completely unrelated.
My mom's name
jumps into my chest, and I'm just like, I hate everything, and just for a little while.
You just like American up for a minute.
Yeah, or it's just
Yeah.
like somebody cut you in line. That bitch has got to get hit, and then you're
Right?
just like, no, it's fine. I'm sorry. I was in the way. I shouldn't have been in the line first. I'm sorry.
That's her joy.
Yeah, but I want
Oh.
it.
You just joined them.
Yeah,
just
I
did.
have the impulse where it's just like, this is going on YouTube, and then I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'll just walk over there. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be in the store. I'm gonna go home. Bye.
You know, Heavenly Father will take you. Heavenly
Jesus
Father.
loves you.
Yes.
That's all I know.
Exactly.
It's just like me Instagramming that lady at Starbucks. I'm like, I'm probably going to end up having to delete that. I
But
just
for right
realized
now,
that
I'm
just
happy.
for a minute. And I really
how-
do hope Santa brings her headphones.
I hope she does too, because that sounds pretty dang rude.
Something else.
So how often do you guys go up at the store?
We try every week. We're not passed by Adam yet.
Okay.
And so we don't get guaranteed stage time.
Okay.
But if the door guys like us, they let us up.
Like my whole thing is, who does John have to blow for me to get up on stage?
Oh my God.
Because
That's funny.
he's supportive.
Mama's not doing it.
So do you do stand up anywhere else?
Yes.
Where?
Yes. Well, we've done it. Let's see. There's Cabo Wabo, which is an open mic, but we get on pretty regularly. Universal Bar and Grill. Let's see. Sycamore Tavern. We've actually done
We
shows.
run our own shows at Sycamore.
Oh, okay.
I say we, but it's
The
Emily.
dojo. Joy did a live version of the podcast there. We call it Quickies, and it was really great and
That's
fun.
It
cool.
was so much fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that more
Yeah.
and run our own. It's fun. We have a game show that we run where comedians are given tasks.
Hard tasks.
Hard tasks like what? Like math?
No, like building a damn robot.
Building a robot
Oh, that is a hard task.
It said age 8 on the package. I didn't know. And then there are other comedians there that are meant to heckle. And then in order to get the tools and helps that they need to be able to complete the task, they have to answer trivia questions.
Had to build a robot, and she didn't give us screwdrivers.
Yeah. They had to answer a question. And the one who answered the question right got the screwdriver, and the other 2 got butter knives.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I wasn't happy.
They-
I'm like, she's still not living that one day. It was fun for everyone else in the audience.
Well, she was supposed to be a heckler, and then one of the contestants won help from either a heckler or an audience member, and she said, well, can I just switch out with one of them? And that was not even a consideration in the rules, so we were like, sure. And she's like, okay, Joy, your turn. And Joy was like, what? I'm supposed to fuck.
So you got to build
And
the
everybody
robot.
else was like 20 minutes in. She hadn't done anything. And I'm all,
She just stood and was pretty for 20 minutes.
So did you
pretty.
give them instruction manuals, or did they just have to figure it out?
Well, that was one of the things they could win was the instructions.
in Spanish.
In Spanish. Well, the first time it was you could get them in Spanish, and then the second time was you could get them in English. Because I'm evil, and I thought they were going to be way easier because it said it was for 8-year-olds.
There's some pretty sophisticated 8-year-olds in this
Yeah.
world.
I did.
Yeah,
clearly.
I hadn't met too many Californian 8-year-olds, so I was like,
No, not versed in that, are you not?
No, I was like, oh, this will be fine
This'll
for an
be
8-year-old.
fine.
And then everybody was like, oh my God, why? And I was like, oh, maybe this was a poor decision.
Usually comics, I think, are very verbal people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as very visual or spatial, which is what it would probably take to build
Yeah.
a robot. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
It was fun. Like both of the shows were, everybody was like, that was fun. So yeah,
We wanna
just
do them
anywhere they give us the magic talking stick, we will get up on stage.
That's so cool.
It's, yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see where these paths lead,
It'll be fun.
together and separately. It's going to be kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great.
It's going to be amazing.
It
Thanks.
was a fun first year in California.
It was?
Yeah. it
I'm
was
glad to hear
good,
that.
and I wouldn't be able to do it without her.
Yay.
And you met where? At the store?
At the store.
You did.
She looked like she needed a hug. So I went and gave her a hug.
I
Aw. Did you need a hug?
I did. I was here all by myself. I'd been here for like a month and a half, and I was like, physical contact. Oh my gosh. I didn't know I needed this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know what you need till you get it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, thanks for coming and talking to me.
Thanks for inviting
It was
us.
really
having
fun.
us.
It was fun.
And I'm going to put a link to your books on my website. That'll be fun.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
You don't have to.
So read them
Yeah.
and come find you guys. How do they find you?
I'm on everything as EmmaLeigh Rivera. It's EmmaLeigh Rivera. And that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I guess Facebook friend me. I don't know what you guys do out here.
I don't know either.
But yeah. And Happy Endings with Joy Eileen is Massagecast on Instagram.
Yes.
Awesome.
And then Instagram is Joy Eileen, JoyeIleen 84 Instagram. Twitter's Hey It's Me Joy. So yeah, anywhere there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Until next time.
Yay!
Thank you.